RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. This is your 15-minute, half an hour, somewhere in there, summary of what the hell's going on in this world. If you have it figured out, let me know, because I think we're still trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the world. Isn't that weird how now even that's gone on Zoom? You never know what to expect. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Hello, Meg. Hello, Glass Insights. Those people in the hangout here with me. Let's see. I guess we have a couple people over on YouTube, so I hope you enjoy the offering. Would encourage you to consider joining the site. Really, I think what we'll try and do is maybe even dial down these live broadcasts and maybe even try and do like a pre-recorded message. And that way we can edit out all of Brian's rants and all that nonsense, and maybe we can get the viewership of this channel up a bit. Anyway, obviously with the weekend's events, things are a little bit up in the air. And I did notice right out of the gate, very wonky price action. I noticed that things like the crude oil opening range trade just zing, zing. They just like ran stops because probably the amount of people participating first thing this morning was probably relatively muted. And we also noticed that in the stock market. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well in day trading respectively. Actually, I just closed out all the positions. Well, not all, 2 positions that I had on heading into this. Not really want to be distracted while talking to you. So I think we have on our little itinerary on the screen here. So at least that gives us an idea of what I should be talking about. So first things first, and as you can see, it looks like it's screen quality is always horrible. Nope, still gonna do better than that. 480, will that do it? Yeah, at least now I can read it. All right, so first things first, of course, we want to take a look at the breadth. Interesting how over the course of last week, we turned around and ticked back up here. Sure looks to me like we're going to cross back bullishly here. And if you are a site member, if you do use this information, I often find that around the 50 line, sort of midpoint, we can oscillate back and forth, back and forth. Not really the best sort of trade location. Market could break either way. So not really a big surprise. We're very wishy-washy here. And also, too, when you actually look at the breadth data itself, you can see nothing's really at a major extreme. It is interesting to see that crypto seems to be catching a bit of bid here recently. We did talk yesterday at length about things like Bitcoin. Looks like it appears to have banged up against a support level, 200 SMA, that kind of stuff. And turn the corner back to the upside. And, you know, kind of cheekily, I put out a tweet yesterday. Every Sunday, I do a sort of summary weekly or sometimes daily chart, suggesting that we went through the seasonal troughing window. So everything played out pretty much exactly as anticipated through that. Of course, barking to people not to chase the market through like April, May. I don't know whether it fell on deaf ears. I do see quite a few people on the site thank me for sort of slowing them down and getting all, you know, animated and excited about Gucci sweater wearers and the foolishness of the public and this time it's different kind of chatter. So hopefully I made a positive difference in a bunch of people's lives. And at the end of the day, hopefully we save some money, right? I mean, that's what this is all about. I'll also counsel too over the 10 years that I've been following crypto that it appears that once sort of high school graduations are done, final exams are written, holiday weekends are had. We get comfortably into summer mode, which means all the teenage boys get comfortably buried in mom's basement and get the computers fired up, and away we go. It's summer silly season. So I definitely think we've made that transition. And I even pointed out yesterday, Stellar Lumens and Cripple, which are two names I've been following forever. They're actually leading the charge higher as well. I remember last week pointing out, and the week before pointing out bottoms that were coming in on that EGLD. And I think that also is rallying to a certain degree because of stock market names that happen to be in the same space, metaverse kind of talk. So I am seeing actually a lot of connection between some of these big tech names and the crypto space. So yeah, I think it's we're doing our normal seasonal transition, and you really, if anything, if you're just going to learn something from listening to me, just learn that whenever we get into May, just cool your jets. There's no hurry. And usually there'll be really, half decent entry windows there, the end of June, beginning of July. And I think that's exactly what's happened here this year. Really nothing out of the ordinary. I suppose we can just give you a quick little boo. In fact, actually in the newsletter yesterday, didn't really talk about it too much, but on the weekends, I point out the crypto breadth on the newsletter. It seems to be charging higher here. I don't know. I mean, ironically enough, this is in a somewhat of a sell pattern here because the fast is moving up basically at the same pace as the slow. I don't know whether we need to re-examine the mechanics of this algorithm or not. That does seem a little bit suspicious. But anyway, Sjord's on vacation right now, so we'll maybe touch base with him when he gets back. I will say something looks a little bit suspicious about this, how the slow is actually overbought here. Even though the fast is not. I'm not quite sure how that happens. But anyway, this is a head scratcher, right? Really shouldn't look like that, but oh well. I'm not quite sure how to respond to an image like that. I will say that, higher highs and higher lows, these things are pointing higher. So I think in the short term, we should feel optimistic. But if anything, this kind of message, especially if this fast gets overbought here, this thing's kind of setting up for disaster again. And I might argue too that, things kind of moved up very quickly there in the crypto space, maybe a little too far too fast. Be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's see, itinerary topic number 2, econs and what's sort of going on in the world econ wise. Headlines today, I would say that if we didn't have this Trump thing, I'm not even quite sure what the hell you call it. There was some people on social media that were actually saying that the whole damn thing was I don't know what you call it, staged. I did see other people kind of going, "Oh, and an expression that's super popular these days, and it's weird how society does this. False flag. Geez, you've heard that expression. I mean, they're almost getting to the point where now it's losing all meaning. But anyway, I did hear some people on social media calling this was a false flag, and then of course other people on the other side are like, you are the worst human ever, for saying such a horrible thing like that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I suppose if anything in this contentious world, it's par for the course. I mean, what do we call it? Do you call it an assassination attempt? I suppose so. Anyway, the Trump thing. And what an interesting life that guy has lived, eh? I mean, you can definitely tell. The astrologers and all that, when they did his readings years ago and stuff like that, were like, whoa, this guy's got a really interesting chart. He's going to make a big dent in this world. And man, he sure has, including now he can say he dodges bullets. Oh, goodness. I don't know. Anyway, if it wasn't for that, I actually think that the market would be off quite a bit more, um, in a weird sort of way. And I have no idea why they do this, but then I don't really know how society works in China. Is Sunday just yet another business day in China? Does it even mean anything? But quite often, the Chinese government comes out with their economic data, specific data points and stuff on Sundays, which is a bit odd for us in the West. We don't really do much on the weekend. In fact, we don't even really have many econs that come out Mondays. We don't like starting the week with econs, and today's no exception. I mean, the data out of North America is almost non-existent. That might be half of the reason why the market's doing what it is. But anyway, Chinese data came out and it came out ugly. And there is continued concern over the fact that basically the Chinese real estate bubble is long burst. It's over. And now we're in this sort of aftermath of what do bubbles look like. I actually even put out a video. I think it was last weekend. I was surfing the net watching, and it felt like this Caucasian gentleman was kind of like a puppet of the CCP and coming out with like a propaganda piece about how wonderful China is now and how you in the West are missing out on such an incredible opportunity. In fact, the city that he was reporting from said, we actually now can see blue sky every once in a while. Like that's some sort of great achievement. Hey, you can actually breathe. Imagine that. So I even put the question out to social media, but nobody even cared to answer. But I asked, is this all bullshit? Is this actually real? I mean, the one thing that tipped me off about it that it maybe seemed a little bit suspicious was how incredibly fluent the guy was. Like he switched to Chinese just instantly and started talking to the locals with just a perfect accent, perfect Chinese. And I was like, that's a little suspicious. But anyway, so I think the data coming out of China right now is still train wrecky. And it's so ironic, right? Now they're actually saying that the economy grew at 4.7% year over year. I don't even know whether you can actually even believe that kind of number. It seems a bit suspicious. But anyway, came in quite a bit less than expectations. And actually, it's interesting to see Japan got absolutely bitch slapped overnight here, down 2.5%. So I think that was in a reaction to this very negative news out of China. Also, too, and I do think that this is a bit overdue. It feels as though India feels as though it itself is a first world nation, but I really don't think it is. And inflation now is starting to come roaring back in India, which I would expect. I think over the weekend there was some sort of talk. One of the richest men in the world, his son had a wedding, and I think he was an Indian billionaire guy. And it was just so ostentatious. I mean, total like aristocracy kind of behavior. And that's actually what the mental image that I have of India is. The rich just live absolutely insane lives over there. And then, of course, the poor, it's just stunning squalor. So, anyway, interesting to see inflation's roaring its head back over there in India. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know. I don't know on balance. Other than the Chinese data coming out overnight, which was pretty negative, and I think it cast a shadow over the market. But of course, here in North America, following Mr. Trump's event, I watched a video last night, all the betting sites in Europe, they all like locked limit up that Trump was going to win this election. And poor old Biden, they all locked limit down. So now the odds of Biden winning are like single digits. Poor old guy. And if anything now, probably the Democrats are kind of like, we're gonna get our asses kicked in this election. So you know what? Leave the old man up there, and we'll let the chips fall where they may, and clean up come next spring and summer, and try and figure out where the hell we go from here. But you know, I you can't write better fiction than reality. That is absolutely the hallmark of today. You cannot write better fiction than reality. All right, Chris is telling me we hit the 15-minute mark, so we should probably keep moving on here, eh? One of these days I'll try and get down to 15, 20 minutes. Who knows? We do have Jerry speaking here in about 15 minutes or so. If I understand correctly, it's like an economic symposium, or he's being interviewed or something like that. I think we've seen these before. I don't know whether he's actually really going to make too much of a reference as to where short-term interest rates are going to go. You remember even his Humphrey Hawkins testimony, he didn't really want to talk about speculating where rates were likely to go. I find it hard to believe that he's going to do so here, but you never know. So I might argue that we're now 18 minutes past the top of the hour, at the bottom half of the hour here. He is going to speak, and I would imagine most people in the marketplace are probably just going to go on pause. So don't be surprised that the algos all start coming alive. Like I said, heading into this video offering here, I just squared everything up. I don't want to be concerned and looking over my shoulder at what the hell's going on in the market. Because usually when these Fed speakers speak, and especially the biggest, baddest Fed speaker around, Jerry, usually what ends up happening is most people just stop, especially if you work in a brokerage house. They'll have basically his interview on every single TV, and everybody just sits and watches that. And if somebody calls, yeah, no, take a message, right? I'll call him back, right? And that kind of thing. So this, if anything, Mr. Fink's algos should all go absolutely crazy here. So don't be surprised if there's lots of stopwashes all over the place. Really, as I had said earlier, basically a non-event news day. Some minor numbers. Oh, what a surprise! A China D's number came in negative. Well, that's interesting to see. New York State Empire Manufacturing Index came in pretty negative, and kind of just continuing that trending down situation. I have noticed New York State itself has been taking it on the chin pretty hard here over the past 6-8 months. I was looking at real estate back east, and I did notice that New York State real estate is pretty depressed right now. So the whole state is kind of not very happy. I think they have to deal with their tax rates, mind you. Coming from China to, oh my goodness, talk about taxes. Well, anyway, so really not a hell of a lot of news. I mean, we had a couple T-bill auctions, nothing really to get too excited about. Rate actually came in slightly lower than expectation, or I guess previous rates. And I did notice that actually I kind of noticed mixed bag. On the short end, the bonds kind of sold off, and on the longer end, actually I think I got that the other way around. Sorry. On the short end, the bonds, which chart do we want to show? I guess this one here. Look at that. So you can see a bunch of positions squaring ahead of Jerry speaking here. On the bond market here in particular, and this is going to be driving price a lot here. We noticed that the short end was working its way up, but the long end actually was coming off. And the excuse that they were giving was that now that it looks like we're going to have a Trump presidency, they're getting ready for the economy to start actually growing again. And under this, really weird socialist agenda of Mr. Biden, you could make the argument that the economy is just basically stalled and it's not really doing anything. Interesting to see as Jerry is getting ready to speak to us. Look at this US dollar here. We banged right into a couple important foggy boggies, and it sure looks like it's trying to double bottom here, right? So a little bit early to get bullish of the US dollar index itself just yet. But you might even find that Jerry kind of throws a wet blanket on all the rate cutting expectations. It's quite remarkable to see. And these Wall Street betting sort of, 95% chance of a rate cut next meeting. And then all of a sudden it comes and there's no rate cut. And you're like, well, what the fuck? What's going on here? Keep in mind, all of those rate projections, all of that. Oh, yeah, it's all just fluff. There is nothing solid to any of that conversation. And I actually really don't like the way the market gets lulled into sort of listening to these betters, because 9 times out of 10 they're wrong. And I have made the argument repeatedly that how on earth can you justify lowering interest rates with a stock market that's making new all-time highs on a daily basis? This makes no economic sense whatsoever. So I don't know, call me crazy. I don't think there'll be a rate cut anytime soon. But anyway, interesting. Let's keep an eye on the US dollar. If it does bottom here at this significant Feigenbaum level, then I would actually expect a nice little counter trend rally there. So we'll see what happens. ES, we've talked about it, like I just said there. Stock market just booming to new highs, made another new high here today. We are well beyond potential reversal zones. I suppose now we're going to be talking about alt A, B, C, D levels. Where the hell does this thing top out? There is no top here whatsoever at present. And you can see that the divergences are building, but that's all they are, is they're just building divergences. So until the divergences actually confirm, doesn't really mean a hell of beans. So what it does mean is we need to have this market get hit here to cause these divergences all to confirm. And then if we get some sort of M on the other side of that, we got ourselves a trade idea. But right now, market's still pointing higher, and I would not get in front of this thing. There is no sign of a top anywhere in sight there. A little bit different tone. Yield Bitcoin does have a top working. And as I had sort of said, just, to start off the broadcast, it kind of felt like we were, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Came down into this trendline support, 30 SMA. Moving averages are still technically bullish here on the weekly chart. We look at the daily price chart. We had a real fight here at the 200 SMA. That's what usually happens. It's not really a big surprise. Nice little W's coming in here. And of course, the W's themselves start projecting things like Feigenbaum levels. So not really a big surprise. This little W here, 2.618 up against Mountain Man. There's also another 2.618 off of this W right up against Mountain Man. I'd say there's probably a pretty good chance we're going to go tag Mountain Man. The original M structure top, and if I actually did want to short and I was an institutional player, I would be looking for this level. In fact, I might even suggest that we probably really hunt those candle body levels up in there, but we'll just start with this market structure fail level. So again, that's up in reload zone. And then if we actually think about the original actual market structure top and the trend in this space, well, that's what this yellow line is right here. So, don't be shocked if you see the corn rally up to $68,000 a Bitcoin. Just be business as usual. Probably should run into a little bit of traffic right around this peak. And I think, as I pointed out yesterday, market structure, if you really are bullish, you want to see this level taken out in earnest. And I think it looks to me like that's going to happen. So I wouldn't bet against that. And then we'll see how this thing acts. And what should happen here, if you're a fan of that ICT guy, he likes this kind of thinking, is we'll break this market structure. Then what I do is I just simply say, all right, where is Mountain Man on the other side? And notice that's sort of back into this back and forth area. So I would be thinking just, head and shoulders. So left shoulder, neckline, head, neckline, pull back into these lows. If this low holds and we turn up, well, you can see inverted head and shoulders. Then you can start drawing projections where our upside target is probably going to be nothing more than basically a test of the old highs. And, if we think that this was like the 2016 correction, then that's what should happen. And we just sort of climb the wall of worry. And I thought it was interesting earlier today, we noticed that Mr. What the hell's his name? Fink or something like that? Of all fucking names to have in this world, eh? Jesus. Fink. Anyway, he's going on in CNBC and saying, I'm a Bitcoin bull. And of course, I control this market now because of all my wonderful ETFs and all that bullshit. And when he's touting this thing, I wouldn't get in front of him. He's probably worth all of us all put together. So, he's touting the bull case. We're through the seasonal window. Got lots of reason to look for upsides here. I would just think that maybe this move off of these lows, maybe a little too far too fast. If we just consolidate a little bit, maybe that sets up things like bullish bot setups, which take us right back up top. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. And then I'd finally say, just on a closing note, if you are a crypto fan and you like playing this venture cap market, well, where the hell are you? Why are you not buying? This was a good example. This was one of Chris's favorite names. Well, I don't know whether it is or not. But we were talking a while ago about doing something on this. And then I was just like, hey, I gave him a bit of capital to put in an account that we'd trade together. And one reason or another that fell through. But I was just like, take the money and just go buy BNT. If it comes back down into 88.6 is Julian's favorite fib. And man, this trade's working like a boss. I mean, I might do yourself a favor and add that 88.6 to your levels. And if you're going to work little old lady stink bid levels, wow, what a trade. I'm looking like a genius here. So, I mean, it is what it is. If anything, now I would be drawing things like good old Foggenbombs. And, initial targets would be 2.618. If you've taken any of these kind of trades, there's a whole bunch of these things that did this. So there'd be my initial target right up in there, about 666. Interesting. Who's driving this bus, eh? But my hunch is we're probably going to revisit this area. Remember, we talked about inverted head and shoulders on things like Bitcoin. I see it right across the space. So I would not be surprised that that's our ultimate neckline. So I am looking for a move all the way back up there. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get a double off of that, but I'll be feeling pretty damn good. Let's put it that way. And then if we get some sort of consolidation, that probably sets up our summer silly season rally window here into the latter part of the summer and early September. That's usually what happens. So we'll see, and there are countless names across the crypto space that all look like this. So if anything, take a screenshot of this, maybe put it in your files, put a reminder. Next July 4th holiday weekend, you will be prepared. Because I tell you, I've been in this space 10 years, and every bloody year, it's the same damn thing. Be worried of Brian's birthday, right? Really, if anything, if you're long and you're thinking about taking profits, get the fuck out before Brian's birthday and look for the market to pivot through that July 4th holiday weekend. And it's basically, I'd say cliche, but I've already said cliche about 20 times, which makes it even more cliche. All right. I think we'll probably leave the summary video at that. That was about 25 minutes or so. Yeah. And of course, we got Jerry here talking right now. So you're probably going to see a lot of people just sort of squaring up. And if anything, they probably should be listening to what Jerry has to say here today versus listening to the Beamish. So, all right. Let's leave it at that. Have yourselves a great rest of your Monday. We'll pop on over to the after party. If somebody actually has the link of Jerry's speech, maybe we should have it playing in the background. I don't know. But I didn't really answer too many questions yesterday. In fact, I didn't answer any. So if anything, what I think I'm going to do is spend probably most of the time just addressing questions that were posted in the Daily Brief request room and that AMA document, but I don't think there were any in there. So, all right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.